Welcome to the We Buy Houses podcast with our host, Brian Spitz, president of Big State Homebuyers, leading the seamless approach to real estate investing in Houston since 2005. Brian's specialty in this large wholesale operation is facilitating real estate solutions for people wanting to sell quickly. Each week, we discuss the ins and outs of wholesale real estate investing and related topics by professionals who matter. And now, here's Brian.
Hello, I'm Brian Spitz, president of Big State Homebuyers, and today we are visiting with Nathan Long with Quest IRA, questira.com. Tell us a little bit about what your company is and what you do.
All right. Well, we administrate self-directed IRAs that hold unusual assets. A lot of our assets are held in real estate, so we don't hold stocks, bonds, or mutual funds, but we hold everything else.
Great. So how does somebody who doesn't have money or doesn't have a self-directed IRA or any kind of retirement funds and not a lot available, what's a good way for them to get started in this business?
That's a really good question, because a lot of my clients either are real estate investors, so they have skills in buying real estate, but don't really know how they can get money. They may not have retirement funds, or they could still be working, like you do at Big State, where you have a 401k that's tied up and not available to invest in real estate. So what do those people do? One of my favorite things is to open up a Roth IRA, a covered education account for your children to help pay for their education, or a health savings account that you can use to pay for medical expenses, and you put a very small amount in it. Recently I had a client put $10 in a covered education account for his kids. He put a house under contract with a $10 deposit. You've done that before.
Right.
And 3 weeks later he sold that for $13,500 to a real estate investor because it was a really good deal. Now he had a skill.
Right.
I mean, he found a good deal, he knew what to do. He could have done this outside and created $13,500 in income for himself, which he then would have had to pay taxes on. But because he did it in his child's covered education account, it grew completely tax-free. Of course, you could do this in a health savings account or a Roth. And what's really cool about it is his child was in private school. So there was $9,000 of tuition that was due for his private school. And because covered education accounts will cover kindergarten through college, he immediately removed $9,000, tax-free and penalty-free. Now he left the $4,000 in there to grow for the next year's private school or do more real estate investing with it. My point being, he could have taken $13,500 and he would have had to pay a lot of tax on it because he's in a high tax bracket.
Right.
Ended up with $7,000 or $8,000. He got more than that to spend immediately right now and didn't pay tax on it. It's just a different way of thinking.
Yeah, it's a really good way of thinking, because I can tell you that tax brackets, as you move up in them, they hurt, and you have to start writing checks to the IRS. So that's a really clever way of doing it. So basically, a wholesaler can use your service to grow wealth inside of the IRA. So it's not necessarily buying investment property or lending money. That's a really good source of doing that. Tell me what else you'd like to talk about.
Well, I just think it's important to people understand, every time you have a real estate deal, there's like a decision you want to make. How do I want to do this? Do I want to make this money in what I call my eats bucket? In other words, the money that we spend right now. Or do I want to make that money in my retirement bucket, and my children's education, and my health care? How is it that I want to make the money? And you've got to learn how to make some money tax-free or tax-deferred. Otherwise, you're going to be spending a lot of your life working for Uncle Sam.
All right. Very interesting. Well, again, Nathan Long with Quest IRA, and I'm Brian Spitz with BigStateHomebuyers.com. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Sure.
You've been listening to We Buy Houses with your host, Brian Spitz, president of Big State Homebuyers. Don't forget to visit our website, BigStateHomebuyers.com, for more information on how to sell your house. We pay $500 for referrals, so tell your friends too.